Okay, let's go live. I just created a brand new course called AI-powered course creation, and it's the workflow that I use to create courses with AI, and it includes all of the prompts that I use throughout that entire workflow. And while I was putting the course together and getting it all ready to publish, I ran into a huge problem that I think you might be running into because you're using AI prompts. So what I'm going to do today is I'm just going to show you what that problem is and some of the choices you may have to make on how to fix it. Now, using AI is pretty cool because it does a lot of work for you, and that's part of the problem. That work generates a ton of content, and I'm talking about notes that you get, about mind maps that you create, about snippets that you visit, websites that you go see. It ends up that the research that you do with your online course explodes with more information when we have tools like ChatGPT and Claude and NotebookLM to actually go and build all of these pieces. Now, just to give you an example, we're looking at a screen right now from NotebookLM, and that allows us basically to, create a notebook and organize all sorts of chats around it. We have other ones, for example, like ChatGPT, where you've got the ability to either publish long chats or, create different ways of organizing your chats, or even using agents. We're kind of different, but you end up with huge long strings of chats. The other one that I quite like is Claude, and that allows you to create a project, for example. And in the project, we can add a whole bunch of documents here on the right-hand side, reference materials, and we can have a bunch of individual chats. Now, these are all great tools, but what happens when you're doing more than one course? Let's say you're doing a bunch of courses. More importantly, what happens if you're doing it for your clients and you're helping your clients create courses, or you're working with your clients doing this? It's an absolute nightmare trying to keep track of this. And this whole problem is something that needs to be fixed, and you're going to have to figure out how you're going to do it sooner rather than later. And again, I ran into it because I was creating a course, and I'll just show you kind of what the course looks like. It should be later today that I actually get it officially published. And the one thing that's, that this course is about for me is it's a chance for you to get behind the scenes to see the actual prompts that I use when I'm creating online courses. And I broke it into a couple sections. I'll show them to you here. It's basically 4 segments. Discover your course topics with prompts. And I go through 5 different lessons here about the different kinds of prompts that I use in the different places. And the course includes the actual prompts and the instructions on how to use them and where they fit in. We also have a organize your course plan, putting it all together with a topical course map, which is something that I teach you in there. Being able to build your expanded course outline with prompts. Let me just make this a little bit smaller so you can see it or it makes more sense. And that's about actually creating the outline and the syllabus and all the things that you're going to cover in the talking points. And then there's a whole other area on creating the physical content that goes with it. Now, when I was building this out, I used a lot of prompts. And if you've ever prompted before, what normally happens when you're doing the prompts is I can give you a prompt, and I do give you the prompts in the course here. But 99 times out of 100, in my experience, especially when you're creating courses, remember that the course content you create, I'm suggesting you use AI at the front of that to basically get your view consolidated, cleaned up, simplified, and clarified, along with you bringing your personal experience and knowledge in to fix the missing pieces, organize the pieces that get introduced to you, make it in your own tone, style, and voice. I'm not saying just create a course with AI prompts. I'm talking about start your course with AI prompts. Make your course by adding yourself to the content has been organized with you. But any of the prompts that you make for any of those steps that I was just talking about, especially ones, for example, about looking at how am I going to really handle doing things like, figuring out who my course is going to be about and for, how to pick the right topic. All of those prompts mean that you're going to give a prompt, you're going to get a response, but you're going to have to give another prompt to clarify the responses. None of the responses, and it doesn't matter how great you are at prompting or prompt design or anything that you've done before, it is always an iterative process. And that means prompt response, prompt response, prompt response. You're going to get something back. And if you can't organize those in a way that allows you to bring the course together at the end, you're going to be in big trouble. In this example, this course that I'm showing you, there's 23 lessons. In 23 lessons, how many different prompts am I giving you here? Actually more than 23. So you've got all of these prompts where you got multiple prompts and multiple responses. How are you going to keep track of it all and put it back together in a course? So that's the big problem I ran into. And as much as I would like to say, yeah, I got this, I don't have it. It's hard. It has to be done. And this is kind of the workflow that you're going to go through when you're building a course or courses using ChatGPT and prompts and Notebook and all of those tools that are great for us, and also using a thing like a mind map and a community or a learning management system like Fluent Community, which we're using right now, to actually go out and sell the courses. And remember, when I'm talking about this, it's more than just putting together the course. There's things like, how are you going to put the emails together for your launch sequence, your onboarding sequence? How are you going to create the information about your sales page? How are you going to create social media posts? Where does all of that go? 3 choices, and here's what you have to kind of go through. Now, what I normally do and what I have been doing for since the beginning is I go and I basically create a bit of a folder for each of the individual courses. And I'll kind of show you one here, just kind of the pieces that I was putting together today and while I was doing this one. And if you look on the screen here, you can see I use Markdown, which is explained in one of the different lessons that we're talking here. It allows you to create mind maps when you save things as Markdown. But it was a whole bunch of different Markdown files, which were things that I created from prompts, outputted as a Markdown file. I had some documents, a Google Doc or Word doc. I had mind map flows. I had images that were created. But normally I create it in a course folder and then try and keep all the documents there for that one particular piece that I'm looking at. So normally when you start out, that's kind of cool. You got it there, but let's say you got more than one course. What happens when you have 5 courses or 10 courses? Here's the other big issue that you come into when you do it this way, is if you have 10 courses, and let's go back, let me just take a quick look at this one here and I'll expand all of the different lessons that I'm talking about. Let's say you've got 23 different prompts that you use here. If you do one course, that's fine. You go, great, I got my course, it's put together. The next time that you go to create a course, here's what's going to happen. You are going to create a course, but the 23 prompts that you used and all the iterations to clean them up, you're going to want to use the same prompts again, or styles of prompts, or kind of workflow of prompts on the second course. So you're going to have to go back to the first course, find the prompts that you used, and be able to reuse them in the second course. And if you don't, what's going to happen is you're going to have one course is structured like this, works like this, looks like this. The next course that you have may end up completely different because the prompts that you used, the way that you structured is completely different because you're going through the whole system again. What happens when you create a third course or a fourth course? After all of this, you're going to want one place where you can go and look and say, these are the prompts or the iterations of the prompts that I use so that I can reuse them. So you got to have a place to keep those. And it's not going to be in a single document by course name or folder and trying to figure it out. So do it for a couple courses with folders. It's a great way to get started. What I did is I actually included a template for you to use and how to use it if you're going to do that thing in the back or bonus lessons for this course here. But that's kind of the setup. It's documents. Now, here's the other one that I wanted to go and use after that is I realized, hey, this isn't going to necessarily work for me. I got to take it up a level. I got to make sure that I can organize it properly. I got to keep a library of prompts and things that I do. And one of the things that I do personally for that is because the prompts that I actually use are ones that they're ones that I end up using over and over again for myself, but also for the people that are taking the courses and working with me. Is, of course, what I do is I've got a library of prompts that I use, and that's available to the members of the trainingsites.io site, which is free to join, by the way. So if you haven't already, make sure to go to trainingsites.io/join. The links are actually here. If you look below on that page, you'll be able to go and sign up for free there. But one of the things I have there is I have a whole series of prompts that I use on a regular basis that are specific for course creation. So these are the ones that I generally use. I also have a gear framework, which is a way to structure your particular prompts that are good, including a checklist and phrases that I reuse on a regular basis. So that's separate. I kind of moved on from just keeping in a document. I got a place where my prompts are organized, but some of the courses that you make, they may take a little bit of time, right? You have to maybe take a week or 2 weeks to create a course. So some of the pieces may be done and some of the pieces may not be done. And if it's a course that gets a little bit bigger, what happens? You're in a position where you have to go and say, okay, where am I in this project? So the second kind of step up is using project management tools. And there's all sorts of them available. There's, ClickUp is a popular one. There's Asana. There's Smart Tables, I think. There's a whole number of them that are available. I use a one called Fluent Bookings internally, which again is part of the actual suite of tools that we include when we're working with our clients. And more importantly, if you want to be one of our agency customers, you get a free copy of Fluent Bookings to use. And I'll just open up one so you can kind of see how that works and what's in there. Sorry, Fluent Boards, I should have said. My apologies. So I'm going to open one up, and what you might want to do is go, okay, great, I'm going to go and create a board that is specific for creating a course. And if you don't know what a particular project management board looks like, the one that I always put into place here, let me just do one. I'll open one up that's a good example of it. This is the one I use all the time because it's for my videos. But this one here, which is the one for my YouTube videos, you can see across the top, it's got ideas, titles and thumbnails it has. Is it scheduled, in production, marketing and launch, completed, maybe later ones. I've got a kind of structure of where lessons are, where course materials are, where research is. And you kind of move things around and kind of figure out, okay, what's done, what's not done. Can I check it off the list? So project management is a great way to do it, except you kind of have to have a project for each of the courses. And then there's often things that you may want to reuse in them, and it's difficult to copy them, keep them back and forth. So that's the way that we're trying to use that now. It can be a little bit cumbersome because there's still some pieces missing. And again, this gets important because oftentimes when you've got more than one course or you're creating courses, you're having help or getting help doing it. It's not just sharing a document in a folder. If you have someone who's helping you with videos, if you have someone that's helping you creating the online email series or the launch series or the graphics, do you give them access to everything? How do you assign tasks? Figure out where they are in the task. It can get really, really cumbersome. So there's kind of another sweet spot that's over and above this, and it's one that personally I think we're going to end up having to use, and it's not because I don't want to. The reason is, there's two reasons. The first one is my personal preference to all of these kind of projects and things is being able to keep everything in-house on my WordPress site. In our campus, I want to have the CRM, the community software, I want to have the email marketing automation, the shopping cart. I want as much as I can have here on the WordPress site. If you've been online for any length of time, what often happens as you get going at this is you may end up, when I first started, we had Help Scout for help support tickets. We were using, for example, we had Active Campaign for a CRM. We had teamwork for a project management piece. We had the WordPress site for a blog. We had a shopping cart, which was away from the thing. And it's like getting all these moving pieces and getting them to work together. And you spent more time getting stuff working together than you did going out and actually doing the work that you needed to do. On the other hand, I like being in ownership of things. So I didn't want to go and use Keep, for example, or Kajabi or some of the other tools that allow you to do everything in-house, but you're renting space and are limited to those services that are available where you're renting space. So I like to do everything inside. Having said that, the thing that's happening is, for me personally, it's getting to the point where I think there's so much content, and this is going to get worse for everyone, not just me, but anyone who's creating courses or using AI prompts, things like that in their workflow. You're going to have to find a way to really organize that exhaust that's coming out. All of that digital exhaust that you're trying to organize, trying to keep in place, and use and repurpose and have as your own personal archive, whether it's for you yourself and the one-person business, a small person business, or even a larger business where you've got employees. It's that central repository of all of the stuff that gets collected. So where are you going to end up doing that? Some people, and a lot of people, will use a tool, and I'll open one up right now. This is one called Notion. So you may have heard of Notion before. There is a free one to get started. And basically you can have a space and a place where you can have your projects working, and it's a dashboard and an interface, and you can get quite complex. But the thing is, these are multiple databases of information or storage areas that can be combined and related to each other and used as a project management tool, but also as a repository or library for the work that you're doing or want to reuse on a regular basis. So one of the things I did through this course, and one of the things we ran into during the course, is I said, okay, well, first thing, I created a template and a document template to use to keep notes on all of the prompts and the output that you're doing. So that's in the course that I created. That's the actual, it's available as part of the bonuses. It's in the course. It's just something that you get with the course. So I did that for a document. I also created a Notion template that I can use to actually do what I was doing in the course. So I created a Notion template. That's a bonus for you if you decide to purchase the course. So it manages all of these things moving forward. So here's the huge issue you're going to have to deal with is, how am I going to manage the content for my course that I created and turn it into a course? And that's what I'm covering actually creating all the content is there. You're going to have to figure out, how am I going to actually keep track of this? And it's not going to be easy, but there are some ways to do it. Those 3 ways I was talking about: a document, a project management software, or something like Notion that is kind of the best of both worlds. And if you're really stuck, I ran into 2 cool tools while I was doing this research, and I want to show them to you now just so that you have an idea of some of the things that are available to you. So here's the first one that I'll open up. This one is called MEM, so mem.ai. And let me see if I can go back to the main thing. This one is kind of interesting. This is a paid service. You can go take a look at it. And what this one does is it allows you, it's AI powered, and what it does is it allows you to build collections of the chats that you've been doing in the different tools like ChatGPT and Notebook and Claude. So as much as those individual tools have a way to organize things in projects, I end up using multiple ones. I end up using both or cross-referencing them both. I get an answer from one in ChatGPT and then actually check it in Claude to see which one is better or if they can make changes on each other. So keeping them organized, or the output organized in a tool like, I think they pronounce it as MEM, not really sure. I just found it this morning, but it allows you to basically create or organize these chats into collections and being able to keep your notes all in one place. Now, the best thing is because you've got all this content that you're capturing, whether it be in a hard drive, in a Google Drive, in a chat, the AI part of it collects it and gives you the reference points or weaves all of it together. So that's why this tool's kind of interesting that's there. And you can just do a search on it, make notes, collections, all of that stuff, and it's available to you in one place to go take a look at. So that one's called mem.ai. And again, I'll put the links below and on trainingsites.io. I think I'm going to do a video on how this particular one works. But that's there. The other one that you might want to take a look at is called mymind.com. And this one is similar. And if you've used Pinterest or Flipboard before, this one is very similar in that you can add all your notes, bookmarks, stuff that you're thinking of. There's even a Chrome extension for it so that you can, if you're on a website, you can take a clipping of something, you can prompt that you used, anything that you run into during the day. There's an extension plus an app for this as well. And what it does is it allows you to basically capture all of that. And the AI tool, again, weaves it all together and allows you to access it by searching all of the related pieces and putting it together. So this one's kind of cool. Again, they have a free one you can sign up and play around with. That one's called mymind.com. So moving forward, here's what I want you to think about. Understand, in my opinion, this is what I'm doing, what I'm struggling with, is that all of the prompts that you use when you are creating your content, and again, I'm talking about courses, but it's not just courses. All of the content that you are using and creating is going to give you a whole bunch of digital exhaust. Because the prompts that you make, the first prompt that you make for any bit of content is never the last prompt that you make to get the content that you want or you need when you're creating as a content creator. So you're going to have one prompt followed by 15 or 20 variations of it for one piece. And every task that you have, you need to have that content that's available and understand the prompts that you used and the best prompt for creating the content that you want. So that's the first thing. Second thing is you're going to be reusing the prompts that you end up liking or feel comfortable with, or ones that come to mind that you can think of when you're actually creating the content. So you're going to reuse prompts. The third thing is you're going to have to get a system to organize to capture the content that you're creating. And you have three choices there. You can do it in some kind of folder and document form. You can use a project management tool. And you can also use a third-party tool like Notion or some of the other ones. The names have just left me right now, but Notion is a popular one right now. And have a system in Notion set up that is a library for the exhaust and the prompts that you use and the projects that you create when you're building out your courses and your content. Or you can even use a third-party app like meme.ai or mymind.com. So think about that stuff. Just look back. Where's my library? Where's my stuff? How can I organize it? And hopefully you find a system that works for you. If any of this stuff makes sense, you want to learn more about starting, building, growing an education business, all of the options that are available for you if you want to be a course or content creator, or more importantly, be able to teach online and earn some money at it from your own membership site, your own training site, and with your own community, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, visit trainingsites.io and sign up. I'm there to answer your questions. There's all sorts of great material to learn from, and there is a huge opportunity for you if you want to get a handle on AI and if you want to get a handle on creating content that's important for your community. You got to just get started and see what happens. So I hope you enjoyed this. My name is James, trainingsites.io. Take care and expect the best.